Hey guys, I am sewing out some polos and working on a needle chart so I remember which needles go where on my machine. I have 7511 ballpoints and also 65-9 needles that are running a smaller detail font at the bottom of this logo. So the top half of the logo is going to be 40 weight, which is a heavier weight thread. The 7511s are a larger needle than a 65-9. The 60 weight thread is thinner. It goes through the smaller 65-9 needle, which then makes this small detail a lot cleaner. This is what it looks like before. It's a bit mucky, like you can't see the letters as clear. I don't know if you can see it, but I went ahead and switched that over to the smaller needle and the thinner thread, and it cleaned it up wonderfully. And so that's what I'm running on the polos. And I am writing this chart out so I don't forget which needle's on where, because currently I have my 4th and 5th needle as 60 weight thread, the thinner thread, with the smaller needle, the 65-9 needle. So yeah, that's what's going on today. Just working and getting some polos done. I also have some DTF I have to press up, and that is what's going on. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday. I'm a little tired. I was hanging out with my husband and some friends last night, and we got home late and got the baby home from, well, when I say baby, I mean 6-year-old. Got the 6-year-old home from the babysitter at 10 o'clock at night. So just trying to push through it. I've been up and moving since 7, and just trying to stay as efficient as possible. I'm currently using, let me see if I can move it over so you guys can see it. I have 2 5.5 by 5.5 mighty hoops. I also have my, mighty hoop hooping station right here. So this has been allowing me to get through and have the next shirt waiting. I only have one machine right now. The goal is to get a second machine, so that will allow for more shirts to be done as a bit more quicker, more shirts to be waiting to be, pushed through and stitched out. But currently I got one waiting, one stitching, and the flow is working. So I'm grateful for it. Great tool to have. Yes, they are an investment, but you make that money back, especially once you start getting your maybe corporate orders, or just large volume orders. Large volume orders really do require you to have the tools you need to keep moving. So I am a big fan of a mighty hoop. I know there are some different, I think it's called Maggie hoops. I actually have one. I don't have the hooping station. I have just one of the largest hoop that my machine can take. I have it. I got it as the Maggie, whatever you call them, because it was just a bit more cost effective at the time. I just couldn't afford to get that large of a hoop from Mighty Hoops and Hoop Master. I don't use it often, and yeah, I'll grab it. So this is the largest hoop that my machine can Maggie frame. It's called a Maggie frame. I have a by 12 needle commercial machine, and this is a 12.5 by 15.5. So they consider this a 13 by 16. You end up rounding up. So this is a 13 by 16, and I figured, you know what, I get this. When I need it, I have something. But I'm seeing, like, in the embroidery groups that I'm in, or even some posts on Instagram, and when I say the embroidery groups, I mean on Facebook, I'm noticing that some people who do have the Maggie frames and they use them religiously, that for whatever reason they are noticing cracking in the resin and the plastic. So I plan to keep an eye out for that, but I honestly don't use this large of a hoop that often, that it's constantly being put on the machine, constantly being subjected to vibration and movement. So I have that in the back of my head. But ultimately it is my intention to get a mighty hoop in this size, even though it's expensive, but it's worth it. So yeah, that's that. I'm just trying to get all the large shirts done. I've decided, in order to be efficient, that I do each size. Instead of hopping based on color, I'm hopping based on size. The mighty hoop, not the mighty hoops, the actual hooping station comes with a booklet, and it has a chart in it. And even on the website, I believe you can get access to this particular chart. I have it here at the bottom of my hooping station. I printed it and cut it out. I don't know if you can see it. I'll see if I can lift it up a little. But here, right here at the bottom, I taped the chart that comes off the website and also in the booklet. And it pretty much tells you, like, where to place this particular piece right here. Let's see if I can get it off. Where to place this on the hooping station, so that based on the size of your garment and whether it's a ladies or men's garment, so I have that going I'm doing all the larges, and I'll do all the extra larges, and I'll do all the 2XLs, and just go that route. I do all the whites first, because they all require the black thread, and then the black, gray, and blue and red shirts require all black. So it just helps me to not mess up, because you have to go in, change your needle, change your thread, change your needle on your console on the machine. Do not want to mess up. Don't want to mess up. One of my biggest things, don't want to mess up. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. I am checking to see what would be the best way to make this needle chart. The needle chart is going to literally help me keep track of things. I have my needle tent set up for foam caps, and I'm talking the stiff Richardson like trucker hats. So this is the hat that I'm referring to. This is actually a Hiipoo. It's a great brand. Typically, if you buy from when I buy from my wholesalers and they're like, oh, we're out of Richardson, this is a comparable model, this is what you end up getting. Sometimes Richardsons are just not available, or they're a little bit more expensive and out of my client's budget. So I get the Hiipoo, and I love them. I think they're great. They have a great look to them. They have great quality. They have that structure that the trucker hats have that's really popular. But when you're doing, this is puff? Yeah, this has foam in it. So this is a 3D puff design that I had done, and my tension was shot. I had not mastered my tension the way that I thought I had, and I struggled so badly. And I had to do this hat in 2 different colors. So there's a set in this silver, and then there's a set in gold. And it forced me to learn even more about my machine than I already knew. So it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it was a struggle, and you get a little, I don't know how everybody else thinks, but I got a bit deterred, because it was the headache after a while. It was just like, oh gosh, please just do the right thing, work right, machine. But it was user error. The user had not truly understood how the tension on a hat, especially with foam in it, is so much different than just a hat with a flat design on it versus a shirt that's just totally flat and soft. So me making this chart with my needles on it will help me to keep in mind which needle is for what, because I did finally find the perfect tension for my stiff trucker hats with a foam 3D design on it. I'm not changing that tension. I refuse. So I'm going to put up a nice little cute chart on my wall next to my machine and make sure that I remember that that's which needle is which. It's also a titanium needle. I went with a slightly larger needle, so I went with a, let me see, I went with an 80-12. So for just any structured cap, I chose to go up a size from a 75-11 sharp, because you know you do ballpoint needles for cottons and poly knits and things like that, because the rounded tip on that ballpoint needle won't puncture a hole and kind of like demolish the actual threads of the material of a shirt. But a sharp is a way to go on a cap. Now granted, I know there's a lot of people who use 75-11 ballpoints. God bless them, I don't know how. There's also people who use 75-11 sharps. Makes sense. This is stiff. You want something that's going to be sharp, precise, and get through and get out. And this seam can beat you up, especially if your tension is not right. This was the biggest problem I had. It made me realize how bad my tension really was, or just that it wasn't right. So I finally got that under control. This is actually a hat that I messed up. It didn't finish at the bottom because the design was too far down. The rest of it came out great, but the position of the design was too far down, and my needle couldn't get through to the last few stitches of the design. So it is what it is. So yeah, this was stitched out with regular 40 weight thread, which is your basic polyester embroidery thread. But I did take this up to an 80-12 titanium coated needle. So those needles are gold versus the silver needles that you typically get for a 75-11 sharp or a 75-11 ballpoint, which it's helpful because when I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's gold. It's not your basic needle. So yeah, I'm just trying to help myself. I'm going to do a chart, make sure that that's all written out for my memory. Get these shirts done, and then I think I mentioned a few moments ago, I have some DTF that I have to press. That's for another order. So just keeping an eye on the machine, making sure if the bobbin runs out, I'm here to catch it. Actually, the last shirt I just did, which was the white shirt in black, here it is right here, which actually came out really nice. It came out nice. The bobbin ran out, and there was a huge gap, a white gap on this particular letter here. So I had to go back and have the machine go back over it. But sometimes you got to remember, like, you really have to keep an eye out, because you don't keep an eye out for it, and you're not just paying attention to your machine, you'll come back and you'll be like, wait, what just happened? Why is there a whole section missing? Because your bobbin just decided to run out, and the machine sometimes keeps going. There won't be bobbin, and it's just ticking along, and then it finally stops. But meanwhile, it stops way further past where the actual bobbin ran out. That's another thing you got to keep in mind. So this is what we got. This is the 40 weight thread at the top, and this is the let me turn my hand. This is the 60 weight thread at the bottom, and I think it came out great. So I have to clean this up. This is a, let's see, this is a no-show mesh stabilizer that I'm using. I double them up, especially if I'm dealing with a corporate order. I am making sure that I am pricing out that I am using 2, but this is also to make sure that the stabilization is immaculate. I'm not going to allow anything to leave my workshop, my business, and it's not just right. So these have to be cleaned up, and yeah, just trucking along. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm actually going to check in with a friend of mine who makes sure all my volume is good when I'm on camera. So we'll do that. And that blue shirt is just getting the 60 weight thread. Okay, yep. So we're rounding, that shirt is almost done. And I am gonna tick away here. Let's see. Oh boy. So I hope everybody once again is having a great Monday. Trying to wake up. And wanted to make sure that I start getting used to doing lives, because I really do want to build a community and kind of be able to talk to viewers, you know, subscribers, about questions they have that I can help with. And just work along. So, okay, so I'm getting back feedback that I can be heard. I hope so, because if I've been talking for the last 20 minutes and nobody can hear me, that's embarrassing. Thank you, Kelly. But yeah, so going to work on this and probably come back a little later. If anybody have any questions regarding 60 weight thread versus 40 weight thread, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. You can follow us on YouTube as well, Instagram as well. And I'm trying to wake up. I had a cup and a half of coffee. I'm trying my best, y'all. My girlfriend is making fun of me. But yeah, so yeah, just let me know. Questions, instant messages, any questions, really appreciate it. And definitely here to help as best we can. And we'll try to go live again later this week. You guys have a wonderful week, a wonderful Monday, and stay efficient. Have a great week.